is a lot happening with the price of XRP. For some, it's an asset to waste your money. And for some, it's the future, the early retirement plan, and financial freedom. So it varies how you look at this. I personally trust David Shaw's on this one. So, if I compare David Shaw's and others, I'll definitely go with David Shaw's opinion than others. And when it comes to XRP, he is the one who created that ledger. So because he knows the ledger more than us, the positive and negative stuff and everything he understands clearly. And if he is like all eggs in one basket, then I am like, okay, I'm not wrong with my investments and what I inform you guys. But the issue here is that there is things happening all around, and majority of the XRP holders are looking at $100 per XRP, and the market does not always reward everyone together. So how can you make it? Listen to this episode in full and you will open up that magic box. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to get more value, you can use the Patreon, PayPal or XRP wallet address given in the description below. Now, there is no much of a magic box here. That was just for fun. But what you have to understand is there is value in everything. Now, let's see how you can unlock that potential. First of all, price of any asset. You can look at it in your own way, look at the technical and fundamental aspects like you look at the sky and clouds. You can look at the clouds and say, yeah, I see this kind of pattern. The other guy will say, no, I see this kind of a pattern. So that varies from one to another. But say I'm a believer and I'll say, if God comes out and says like, no, I see this particular pattern, definitely I'll go with the creator. In the same aspect, when David Shaw is stating that he is there in, he's looking at this like one basket. What does that mean? My job, my reputation, Ripple stock, XRP and so on. I like that basket. But the risk is very high in the entire cryptocurrency space. I'm just too rational to pretend otherwise and suggest others to do the same. But you have to understand, on the de-risking, investment is, investment comes with risk. And here David clearly states, on the de-risking part, I'm a risk averse person with people who depend on me financially and emotionally. Fate caused me to put a lot of eggs in one basket, and that's where he explained what is inside that basket, one basket. So if he is such a risk averse person and he look at XRP so much along with his job, reputation and Ripple stock, now his reputation is from something which he created, his work and ethics. So now when I go through all of this particular thread, I'm completely concreting that foundation of XRP on which the price will rise. Let it be any other guy stating vice versa. I don't actually care about that, because the research I do here and what I inform you guys is kind of something similar. Now, why should the price of XRP go up? For most of us, we are looking at payments business. Say Apple is not just a payment provider, right? We all know that they do mobile, they do computer, they do a lot of electronic stuff. Now, Apple's payment business will generate billions in revenue. So if other institutions are entering this space, you have to understand how huge the profit margins are in this space. Now, look at this one. Number of crypto merchants accepting XRP has surged 46% this year. Now that is actually a good step, and this is a recent kind of update just happening 2-3 months ago, and you have to look at that in a positive manner, because when the price is going down or staying in the consolidation phase, this is happening. So think, when the price of XRP starts to move to the upside, let it be 0.4, let it be the next stage of 0.6, 0.7, but as we go up in price, the purchasing power of XRP holders increase compared to a fiat holder. Or let it be any other asset for that case, right? So in that particular aspect, you have more purchasing power to shoot on whatever things you need. Now, if you are a financially educated guy, you will go for wise choices. Otherwise, it's up to you. But still, your purchasing power increases and these kind of adoption will increase. Now, it's not only in that aspect. The micropayments ecosystem is thriving and XRP has a huge role in that to play. But these are all the real fundamentals which we should be looking at. But in reality, what's happening? This statement from Chris actually kind of highlights the value of XRP is not actually driven by its remittance program or the actual fundamentals. Right now, it's mainly going with Ethereum and BTC. More look like BTC. Why is that? If you look at different exchanges, you will understand what I'm trying to state here. So when we come into charts to compare that one, we kind of get, yes, even though it's following the same pattern, the time frame looks a bit different. Now, once you look at that kind of a price fluctuation in one asset, which is leading other assets along with it, you have to understand the base, right? Because majority of the exchanges, when you consider in total, uses BTC or Ether as the base pair. So in that aspect, you have to understand that is one of the main reason it is happening. And at the same time, say there would be investors coming into crypto space, right? Say they are putting 10% of their total portfolio into crypto, in which they will put 5% in BTC and then the next 5% in a diverse top 10, top 20 cryptos. So in that aspect, when they are to take profit, they would be taking the profit out of the entire crypto, and when they put the money in, it kind of goes in a similar way. So that kind of pushes the Bitcoin and others together. So you can either say, in my perspective, Bitcoin is pushing others, or at least it's all running together. So if a tide is coming and Bitcoin's price is to go to the upside, all the boats will rise together. Now, in this particular chart, if you look at this is a rounded bottom, or you can even draw a arc here and say it's a cup and handle. Now, cup and handle itself is something similar to that of the rounded bottom or a separate pattern. And the expected target here is kind of around 100%. So that takes us above the previous all-time high, or at least we are going to get a new all-time highs for BTC based on this particular pattern. Now, that's for BTC, right? So when you jump into XRP on a daily time frame, this is what you get. A rounded bottom again. So will we actually create a rounded bottom and go for that 120% pump, or will we make a cup and handle, meaning there would be a correction just before the pump, meaning when the price is about to explode, it just gets corrected a bit, and some says, no, it's not going to the upside, and they'll leave the market, and then the market will turn to the other side. So some are going to lose that opportunity, and that's what we can actually see. So the rounded bottom, if we look at step-by-step guide, say if we go into trading sim or any other even research articles about this, you can understand that history of price fluctuation is really important. A rounded bottom trade entry, there's a lot of different stuffs to look at. Now, why do I say that? Because when you look at this kind of rounded bottom, while reaching here, you would say, yes, the price should be bouncing from this particular level, and you would be keeping your stop loss just below this. Look at what the price did actually. The market kicked out a lot of guys who had their stop losses in that area. So if now that's just a probability which I'm looking at, before the price goes up, it may wick a little bit down even to 0.23, 0.22 or 0.2 and then move to the upside. So if you are trading the market keeping tight stop loss, it's completely up to you. I'm not a person who completely keep a tight stop loss. If I'm trading, I do keep stop loss, but it's kind of, I don't keep a stop loss because it's too far away from the price. I give that kind of a range for my trades to work. So that's on a longer perspective. Now, in the same aspect, when you come into what is happening from, say, early this year, this is what you actually see. We are still moving inside this pattern. Now, yes, in the bottom side, we got around 3 touches, and the top is also around 3 touches, in which 2 is kind of together, right? Now, what we are looking at is the price to move towards 0.29, 295, 285 in that area, and then pump around 140%. So if you look at that, say 80, 85 or 70% of that target should be achieved. So we may be moving around 0.6. So the first target for us is, like I said in the yesterday's video, 0.4. and the second one should be around 0.6 to 0.7. Now if you look at the XRP's history, you will understand that key resistance are lying at that particular area. Now this is on a daily chart, and if I show you the same on a 3-day chart, it looks like this. And why am I showing you that? If you look at the RSI on a 3-day chart and MACD, you will understand the MACD is about to cross to the upside and it is still in the positive sign. Now at the same time, RSI is creating a trending channel in which you can see the support is really becoming valid, right? It is showing a symptom for asymmetric gains to the upside. Now why do I say that? Because this is on a 3-day chart. The RSI is showing that there is underlying strength of buyers, or buyers are really storming into the market. At the same time, MACD is showing that we may move to the upside, but there is still a word of caution there. Now that's on a weekly. I'll get into that after this one. This is a zoomed in view, say a 2-hour chart. We are focusing on this one. If you are following the market, looking at all the noise, fluctuation and all, you would be able to look at this like this. But if you are doing that in a manner, say you are trading the market, I'll say don't look at that in that way, because if you come to a 2-hour chart, yes, you can understand different stuff. Say the price is kind of making this triangle here, but at the bottom, if you look at the RSI, it's trending to the downside. So the price is moving to the upside here and the RSI is moving to the downside. So for me on a 2-hour chart, it really looks that there is bearish divergence and the price may actually break to the downside here. We'll actually have to see what will happen in that particular aspect. Now, that being said, the word of caution on a 2-hour is that one. And when you go into a weekly chart, look at the MACD. It's still not confirmed whether it's going to bounce from there, whether it's going to cross to the downside. There is still a chance that the price may move to the upside, as we saw in the 3-day, and the weekly will show you a bounce. Because previously, if you look at that, it has happened many times. Even just before the last time, we were about to cross to the downside, but we didn't do that. Instead, we bounced from that level. Look at the RSI at that particular time. You will understand that we created a double bottom there and then moved to the upside like that. So in a similar manner, MACD can do that. So looking at the chances, yes, that can happen. Why? Because other short time charts, say 3-day or daily or long term, considering the monthly, is kind of bullish, because the monthly has already crossed to the upside, as you can see here. So that's kind of a bit bullish, and I explained that in the yesterday's video, so I won't jump much into it. But if you are looking at a shorter time frame fluctuations, do keep this in mind. The time when I created this chart, I was looking at a negative divergence there, meaning the chances are that the price may break to the downside. So it's been, say, more than an hour or so. If we jump back into that 2-hour chart and look at that chart, we are still at that support point. If you can say this is kind of valid, we are still roaming. We are just breaking to the downside. Now, I did say that, right? The chances the price move to the bottom should be higher because we had a divergence there. So that's on a shorter time frame and longer time frame with the price. Now let's actually look at what really is happening. When Chris actually states this, you do have to understand, in a market where the assets are not being chosen wisely, meaning the use case or the utility perspective is not completely being priced in, you really have to go with the entire market, right? So when we say the entire market, you will really have to look at how things are evolving, how it's moving. And this tweet from Daily Hodl gives you that idea. Crypto whale triggers confusion. A jaw-dropping 634 million or billion in BTC moves out of the blue. So you have to look at that like it's a huge amount, right? 634 million in BTC means a huge amount. Now say 634 million BTC is moving from there. Let it be an assumption that they are putting this amount of BTC into an exchange, assuming that they would be saying, soon there would be a fluctuation to the upside and they may take the profit. But that's only a positive side of thinking. If you really look at that, there can be chances that the price may go to the upside, and then they would take those profit, meaning turn that BTC into some other asset which is undervalued, because that's how most of the traders do. So if they are real whales in Bitcoin, they may do that to fluctuate in the market and create that huge confusion. And at the same time, you do have to understand when we say whales, it's not like previous whales. Now you are getting institutions entering into the crypto arena. These 11 companies own 3% of the Bitcoin supply, and is a liquidity crisis brewing. Now we all have to look at that in a manner whether this is going to pass or not, because this is happening. Why? Because already US have just given that clarity for Bitcoin and Ether. So institutions, when entering into crypto sphere, they are looking at Bitcoin mainly, right? But when we look at the entire market here to understand what these investors, the companies, corporates would be doing in the near future, they would be looking at gold, silver, I agree, but at the same time, they would also be looking at the new digital assets, because for them, they are watching the central banks, regulators, institutions entering the space. They are putting tons of money into the space. They are taking supply from the other side and putting this to this area. Why? Because there's a lot of demand in this. If they see this one properly and they understand it, the only thing taking them back is the regulations. But in different nations, different type of regulatory frameworks are being set up. So as we see issues in economy, say this time it's Spain, the debt is skyrocketing. Now, not only Spain. If you look at US, you'll understand what the real GDP of the nation is and how much is that debt. Say I get $1,000 a month and I owe you $1,200 a month. So how can I actually pay you back? I can just pay you the interest, but I'll never be able to pay the entire capital. Why? Because unless my income goes up or the actual amount goes down, that won't happen. So in a similar manner, this has to be watched, because the entire issue is there. If you look at Norway, they're actually taking out fund from their capital, which they set it for a rainy day, and now they are using it. Norway reveals record withdrawals from 1.1 trillion fund. Now, in order to keep the economy sustained to move ahead, they're all doing this. So you have to understand the world economy is going into a crisis mode. Now it's already been in a crisis mode and it's going into economic depression, I'll say. Why? Because as we can see, different nations around the globe, say if you take one nation, now it's more than connected than ever. If you take an example for South Korea, this is a country which exports ton of goods, let it be automobiles, let it be electronics or anything. If the demand in other nations are going down because of the recession in other nations, they can't export it, right? So their economy is affected indirectly, or you can say directly. In the similar manner, if you look at different economies, it is kind of tied up with other countries. So as you see this, you have to understand if one of a nation in Europe is going down, automatically others would be affected. And that in the European zone would even reflect towards US and other areas. So that has to be watched. So when that happens, you have to look at wolves. Now, why I say that? They kind of talk the market down to buy it at the bottom. We have seen this previously from JP Morgan itself, right? For Bitcoin itself. And when we actually state that, keep this in mind. This is a statement made from them. Be prepared. A return to normal is still long way away. Meaning there are still issues that the economy may go down. So when I say this, what I personally think is, there can be a dead cat bounce in the economy. Kind of, at least not in the economy, just in the stock prices. They will make some profit from that and then push the economy to the bottom. Now at the same time, they may go for alternative assets, in which you can see Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are still there. So these are not just small things which you have to understand, but these are giant issues which we actually have to focus on. And when there is uncertainty in the market, you have to understand people tend to move into safe haven assets. Now, if you're an investor looking at being an early adopter in technology, yes, you would be looking at opportunities in digital assets. At the same time, say for the scientific investor family, the Patreon members and all, we've been discussing about the price of silver. It was kind of making, or is kind of making, the similar patterns that XRP is making, or at least we can say it's the opposite side. At least the patterns look a lot similar. And in that aspect, when you look at the price, when it moved towards 30, we told that there is a pullback coming, and our target was around 22, 21, 22.5. In that area, we've been keeping that buy positions, right? And if you look at it now, the price dropped like a stone and it reached around 21.5 to be precise, yeah, 21.65, and we've been buying all around that area. But now I'm looking at the position to understand after it did fall like this, the price has actually reached back towards the half of this one. So I will be looking or following the price in this day to see whether it's a green candle going to the upside. Then yeah, mostly we would be going towards 26, 27 area. Otherwise we may come back towards this bottom range and then bounce to the upside. So this day would be really important to look at silver's price if you are trading this market. Like this one, if the price just dropped huge and then it just showed you that bullish candle reaching more than half of that particular red candle. So it raised a lot of selling pressure there. So something similar is being executed here by the investors. If you zoom out and look at it, you can understand, if you put different support resistance lines, you can understand that these areas were previously resistance, now turning into a support, and that is critical to understand, because if you look at different areas zooming out, you can understand that there is a lot of underlying strength. Now here it was a previous support which turned into a resistance here, so that area should be critical as we move to the upside around to 26.3, 26.4. As we move above, that should be a highlight that the market is going towards the all-time high of $50. That's kind of double the market, and mostly when you trade silver and all, you would be using leverage. Now I'll say keep that leverage low as possible to reduce the risk. So guys, I believe you received value for your time, and if you did, please do support the channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to support the research in the Scientific Investor family, please use that PayPal, Patreon, or the XRP wallet address, all given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.